Not exactly, come on. Now, if you take a book like this and you open the pages and smell it, that's totally different. So, the feel of a physical book and the smell of freshly printed pages, that's totally different. And a book lover like me can understand what I'm actually talking about. But hello, everybody. How are you all? Well, do you know, I was actually reading one of my favorite books on this. This is my Kindle, which I'm going to show you later in the lesson today. And suddenly, while I was reading the book, I remembered this very interesting question that came as a request in the comments. And because you know my love for reading and the importance of reading to improve your English, to become fluent in English, you need to read. So I thought, let's have a reading lesson for today where I'm going to tell you what kind of books are actually useful for reading purposes and for improving your English, for the purpose of reading and improving your English. Now, what kind of books do you need to read? How to select those books? How to get those books? I'm going to tell you everything in this particular lesson. Are you ready for it? I'm Shivangi Gupta, your CELTA certified English language tutor, certified by the University of Cambridge, the UK, and you're watching Speak English with Shivangi. Before beginning, please subscribe this channel because you get one English video lesson every day, daily on this channel. Like the video and share it with your friends too. Okay, coming back to today's lesson, reading is very important, as you know. If you want to improve your English, reading is must. Reading is something that cannot be avoided at all. This is how you're gonna consume good model of English, great model of English. If you don't have good examples, you will not be able to become fluent in English. And reading provides you with that good, great example of language models that you need to use in your day-to-day life, in the written English, in your spoken English, everything. The perfect vocabulary, the perfect grammar structures that are needed. So you pick everything when you're reading. Now, I love reading a lot. As you can see, there are so many books already behind me. There are so many books, and there are also a lot of books that are not here right now. I have much more books than this, but this space can hold only these many books, so it's here. Apart from that, I have so many books here in my Kindle because this device is like it can hold unlimited number of books. You can just add them, buy them, add them to the library. And I use Kindle because somewhere you need to save paper instead of going and buying book. It's like it's sometimes it's hectic where to keep the books, how to manage them. So there are a lot of my favorite books that are not a part of my literature education, English honors literature education. Those are maybe fictional, they are drama that I've read, and I have kept them here in this. So they are classics too. I have so many classics here in my Kindle, and one of the books that I was reading right now, it was this one. Let me tell you, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now, this is a classic. This is a series of classic. You'll find it in Penguins and other publications. So, classics are basically one of the best-selling novels of the era that's like it's like evergreen, and they were written in an era, a particular era where literature was blooming in the history, and they are timeless. It's like they're timeless, and they tell you so much about society, people, yet they are weaved in such beautiful ways that you are intrigued to read them. Okay, so this particular story, I would definitely recommend you to go read The Picture of Dorian Gray, something that is based on the right and wrong. The Picture of Dorian Gray, it's about right or wrong, the choice of a person, like what can it actually lead to. I can only compare it with the story of Pinocchio, like we have the story of Pinocchio, but that's a fairy tale that's meant for children. This is a very serious and a very matured version of that Pinocchio kind of thing. You can compare it to that. So it's about your morals, your beliefs, your values, and like where the choices of person can lead them to in their lives. So that's very important, and you should definitely read it. A life lesson giving kind of book this is. So yeah, and one more thing I'd like to say is that reading is something that will actually make you really fluent. Now, what kind of books to read? Like I told you, I was reading a classic right now. What kind of books to read? I always tell you that you have to select a book according to some parameters. There are various parameters on which you can select a book. Let me discuss with you all the parameters today so that you can understand how to select a book, which book to read, and what book to read at which level. Like for which level of English you should read which book. According to me, you can read both fiction and non-fiction. When it comes to fiction, a lot of times people think that it's about wizards, fairies, and what not, vampires maybe, but that's called fantasy. There is a separate genre for it, that is fantasy. Not everything that has wizards and that is fiction. No, it's just a part of fiction which is called fantasy fiction. Otherwise, fiction has lots and lots of different genres in it. Romance is a fiction because the stories, they are not based on real life people. They do not exist in real life. They are fictional characters developed by an author. So the thing is that these fictions, they can be anything. It can be historical fiction, it can be political fiction, it can be a psychological thriller. Even that is a fiction. But look at the maturity that a psychological thriller carries. Something that can be understood by adults but might scare away the children. So that is the thing. It's not just children's literature when I say fiction. Fiction has vast area, and these stories, they somehow reflect human life. It's a reflection of our society and what goes inside it. If you actually look at drama, drama is basically a family drama, a romance drama, a political drama, any kind of drama. If you take, it's based on real life situation, not particular to one person, but after studying so many things that goes around in the society, somebody, an author, comes up with an idea to include various aspects of society, various aspects of life in one particular story and weave it together for others to view and reflect. So literature provides a reflection to the story. It's just not that you are reading, you're actually exposed to the world culture. And hence, it increases a lot of your knowledge too. So reading is beneficial for you in a lot of ways. Now, how to select a book? Let's come to that, the parameters of selecting book. So the parameter number one is your interest. First of all, you need to keep in mind, if you are a beginner at reading, you need to keep in mind what is your interest. Do you like to read fiction or do you like to read non-fiction? Would you like to read something related to history? Would you like to read something related to science fiction, something horror, or maybe something inspirational? Maybe something from the help book section, for example, Atomic Habits, How to Influence People and Win Friends. So these books are also good to start your English reading journey. Select your area of interest. Later on, you can expand, you can try different genres. That's up to you totally. But whatever you like, select that first. Parameter number two. So parameter number two is your level of English matters a lot. What kind of book are you selecting? So if you're selecting something from classics and you are at a beginner's level, that can actually make you overwhelmed. You'll be overwhelmed in reading it because there are too many difficult words. The language is typical, sentence structures, they might be typical. So if you are at beginner's level of reading, I suggest you go for children's literature first if you want to develop a habit of reading. Right now you're looking to start reading for reading purposes. And I'm not saying go for storybooks. No, there are good stories, ample and ample of interesting stories that you will find, which are labeled as children's book, but they also fall under the category of classics. For example, The Black Beauty, The Adventure of Tintin, Malgudi Days, all these novels, all these stories, they fall under children's literature, yet they have a kind of story that will be great for any adult to read. You'll enjoy it. It's not very kiddish or childish story, no. They will hold your attention and you love reading them. So select a children's literature according to the age appropriate literature that can fall under the age of 14 and above. So something that is meant for 14 and above, for example, Harry Potter series, Percy Jackson series, that's perfect for you to start reading because you will find great narratives. You'll find good narrative, good story, good plot line that you will enjoy. So that's perfectly fine to start reading some kind of fiction, children's literature, or short stories. There are so many short stories that you can read that are available out there. Short stories are not only meant for children but for adults too. You'll find short stories on different topic again. You can even read the translations of short stories from different cultures. For example, I had in my course translations of Premchand's stories too, short stories written by Indian authors. So you can even go for that. You can go for a translation version because you want to read in English. It doesn't matter if the author has originally written in Hindi. I have also read Mahabharata, which was originally written in Sanskrit, but it did not stop me from reading Mahabharata. It was there in my course. I've read it as a part of my thesis. But the thing is that I've read it in English. Your medium should be English. Select anything that you want to read according to your interest, and the second point here is according to your level of English. Okay, now coming to parameter number 3. What is parameter number 3? Parameter number 3 is select something that is challenging. Now, once you have developed a habit of reading, once you have started reading things, now it's time to challenge your English, challenge yourself while reading it. I would suggest go find books that are on a bit higher level than the ones you were reading before. That's going to help you a lot. So select something that will provide you a vast range of vocabulary, a vast range of grammar structures, something that will challenge your English, because until and unless it doesn't challenge you, that means you're in a comfort zone and you're not learning something new out of it. So once you're comfortable reading, you've developed a habit of reading, challenge yourself. You can go for original classics or you can go for the illustrated versions of classics. That's a bit easy. So illustrated versions of classics, they can be good for whoever is at intermediate level or even a bit above the beginner's level now. So they work great for them. Somebody who's about to reach advanced level, you can go for the original classics too. Perfectly fine, original classics. So you go do that and select something that's now gonna challenge your English. That's one level up. So if you were reading Harry Potter or you were reading Atomic Habits before, because the level of English that's written in them, that's same. Now you think that Harry Potter is meant for children and Atomic Habits is something that's meant for adults because it talks about habits and all that. It's a self-help book, it's an inspirational book. But right now, if you want to improve your English, you need to also look at the level of English that's written in it. What kind of English is written in the book? So not just the topic, but also the language. That kind of language used inside the book is important. So if you are reading that, I would suggest you need to challenge yourself and select something which is a bit more difficult. So if you are looking in the self-help category, I'll say the Almanac of Naval Ravikant would challenge your English a bit if you're reading Atomic Habits. And if you're reading Harry Potter, then going for a classics, any kind of classic will challenge your English level. So that's how you need to decide now which novel I need to read next or which book I need to read next. Okay, parameter number 4. That's the last parameter and something that a lot of people are actually confused about. a lot of people, like whether to read fiction or non-fiction. So like I have discussed a bit in the starting about fiction and non-fiction. Now let me tell you that fiction and non-fiction doesn't matter. You must be interested in reading it. It must be according to your level, and both the books can be used. Fiction, non-fiction, both types of books can be used to improve your English. Mostly the kind of fiction that people call, for example, the modern fiction. I'm not talking about the modern contemporary fiction, like books like The Fault in Our Stars, or maybe The Hunger Games, right? So I read a lot of classics. I read a lot of books that are considered literary in nature, related to literature and studies. So they are actually scholar kind of books. So it's about word knowledge. It'll give you so much knowledge about different things, and that's interesting. But if you want to go for contemporary fiction, go for it. It's your choice. Definitely your choice. I'm not saying. So there are lots and lots of books out there. Just explore. Start exploring. You need to start somewhere and pick a book. I know it takes time to select your first book, like what to read, where to start. And once you're done with it, I'm sure everything will come naturally to you. You will be able to pick your next book then. And I give you book recommendations from time to time. So stay tuned. You'll get more book recommendations. I've already made 2 videos on it. I'll put the link down in the video below. In the description box, you'll get the link for those, basically those 2 videos that I've made. And I'm telling you about different books, the names of the books in that. So you can even select those books too. If you want more book recommendations, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll bring more book recommendation videos for you. Do not worry about that. So just start reading something at least, okay? And either you can buy the books or you can invest in a Kindle. If you are an avid reader, if you love reading like me, investing in a Kindle would be, I think, a good option. So I love my Kindle. I just sometimes sit and just open my Kindle. It's easy to carry. I sometimes carry it with myself. So it's really easy to carry, easy to read, and the experience that you get is similar to the books. Not exactly, come on. Now, if you take a book like this and you open the pages and smell it, that's totally different. So the feel of a physical book and the smell of freshly printed pages, that's totally different, and a book lover like me can understand what I'm actually talking about. But still, this is a good thing towards environment, nature. We are saving paper, and still we are getting the almost same experience as a book. So both the things, they are good. Both the things, they have their own values. So yeah, so definitely start reading, and do let me know if you want another lesson on this reading lesson. Now I'm gonna see you tomorrow with a new lesson. Till then, take care everyone, and bye.